kind of testimony documentary is, or can say, special edition of the Overcome podcast, because 1 year ago today, September 19, 2020, I had a major injury that I really was not counting with. I went to the first tournament, IBJJF tournament, after COVID, and during the first 1.5 minutes, we were standing, and I lost balance. I went through a Tai Otoshi, and then I lost balance, and I misstep, and I immediately feel a pop. So I basically collapsed and then screamed. So I was almost like a verbal tap because I injured myself. And went to the hospital immediately, and we did an X-ray, and the doctor that said, look, it looks like it's a Lisfranc injury. You gotta follow up with a specialist. And the result was really a Lisfranc. We did an MRI, and it was pretty bad. It was a very severe Lisfranc. So I went to a specialist on the same week, and he basically said it's gonna have to be a surgery. There is no other way to fix that. You have to have a surgery. And the surgery was in October 8th, so the injury was September 19th. So I was unable to walk from September 19th all the way to surgery time. And come surgery time, they had to open my foot in 3 locations. They had to put a major screw and then 2 plates. And it was extremely painful, the post-surgery. I was taking very hardcore painkillers to just sustain the pain. And to make things even more complicated, I had an infection, so I have to drain blood out of the foot without any anesthesia, so it was painful. Not to count all the psychological aspect of this, because I went through really tough times, almost depression, because I've been an active person since I lost 100 pounds. And I've been doing sports my whole life, but really got active after losing 100 pounds. And it was the first time to me that I was there unable to walk. It was really bad. I had an amazing support from my wife that was with me every single step of the way. I have a really good job that allowed me to take some days off and rest. And since I work from home, I'm able to get the work done anyway. But when it came to October, I was just not feeling well, right? I couldn't work out, I couldn't do anything, so I needed to channel my energy in something else. So I created the Overcome podcast. The Overcome podcast came to life with an attempt of me trying to understand how elite athletes or even amateur athletes, they cope in moments of that they were struggling. So that was the whole idea. And the first guy that I interviewed was Nick Del Popolo. It was my episode number 1. Nick is a really good friend of mine, 2 times Olympia, had major problems on his knee, and he was able to share some really good insights. And I was like, wow, man, this helps me to cope. This helps me to prepare my mind to channel something good out of this mess. So I started to interview more and more people. As of now, I have probably 44 episodes. I interview Jimmy Pedro, I interview Roddy Ferguson, both judokas, Olympians. Jimmy Pedro is a world champion as well. From the bodybuilding standpoint, I interview our beloved John Meadows that passed away recently, but he was one of the most iconic guests that I ever had from the bodybuilding world. And many people, many good people, IFBB pros, athletes, soccer players. I actually found a female soccer player from Ireland that had exactly the same injury that I have, Lisfranc, and she was also able to share a lot of insights. So it was a very important step for me to also give it back, because when I was in bed, researching about this Lynch Frank. I had no idea what it was. It was really hard to find testimonials and information about people that were that had that injury and how they rehab. It was really hard to find. So I really wanted to give it back as well. Fast forward, time is moving on. I started to feel a little bit good. I took some months, 3 months to be able to start physical therapy. Took me 3 months of physical therapy to actually start walking properly without limping, and took a really long time for me to just feel able to, okay, I can now do something related to judo and jiu-jitsu. So around March, April is 2021 is when I started to train again. I was already lifting, but I was not able to train. So I started taking light training, and then in June, I think it was end of May, I was rolling and I went a little bit hard and I dislocated my rib. So another injury on top of that. I couldn't really train because I couldn't really breathe. For like 4 weeks, I couldn't do any movement. My rib was out of place. It was horrible. So okay, back again to another rehab. I'm used to this. It's gonna pass. Keep your mind strong and everything. And I started to build this plan of, okay, I want to compete again. I'm goal-driven type of person, so I want to compete again. I'm gonna start with bodybuilding because bodybuilding is not a contact sport. It's not something that I will have to expose myself to potential injuries. So let me start with that. So I started to work with Greg McCoy, which is a personal friend of mine, my coach for the past 10 years. We've been working together. He is the one responsible for my physical transformation and loss of 100 pounds. And when I'm recording this, he's the owner of Hidden Gym, where I'm recording this video today. And we start working on my prep for the Heart of Texas bodybuilding, which it was pretty tough because I only had 12 weeks. Usually I start prepping for a show in 16 weeks. So I only had 12 weeks to prep, and I was not really in that good shape. So I was 220 pounds, had a lot of fat accumulated for the months without training. So it took me 12 weeks to get ripped from 220 to 188, which was my weight on the night before the show, 188. But I was really in a good condition. I'll probably say I was in the best shape of my life, and that's very rewarding coming out of an injury like that. So I got on stage on prejudging, and I felt really good. It was really a celebration time. Funny that it was on this show 10 years ago that I met Greg in 2011 at Heart of Texas, and then everything changed. So it was really a celebration of this friendship, a celebration of me come out of this injury with a positive mindset and continue to work on my goals. So I was really happy. It doesn't really matter if I won or not. I was not, the mindset was not, I have to win. The mindset, it was like, I have to feel great. I have to enjoy this moment and move on. I'm already thinking of what next, right? So I actually got a really good result. I got second place on bodybuilding. I got third place on class physique, master 45. I was extremely happy. And we basically wrap up this 1 year because I compete on September 18. Today is September 19, and it's like 1 year journey that I learned a lot. I learned how to cope. I learned how to deal with the darkness that comes with injury. I read a lot about depression. I read a lot about mindset. Many books. I read many books about tough mindset, and I think that this has contributed a lot. Not only with my continued fitness journey, because I'll be 47 in 3 months, and I don't see myself stopping. Not soon. I have a lot of goals in my life. I want to be world champion jiu-jitsu. I want to be number one in master in judo. So I have high goals. I need to keep it up with those goals, and I know that I'll be able to accomplish. And this injury came to show a lot of that. But on the spiritual side, it also helped me to get closer to God, I think. I was always a Catholic, but I was not really practicing as much as I should have. And I think this injury brought me close to the Word of the Lord and helped me to better understand those moments. It was really reading Psalms and reading and praying during those moments that it also helped me to rescue myself from doing something stupid, for thinking negativity, because it's really easy nowadays to be negative with everything going on, right? I mean, you open social media, there's a lot of negative aspect and in the news and everything. And with this whole pandemic, people are, losing their ability to work. There's a lot of lives being lost as well. So it was a tough combination, but I came out stronger, I think, in all aspects. And now just looking forward to continue. The Overcome podcast will continue with more episodes. I have already a lot of people lined up for new episodes, and I want to continue to give it back for free on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and that's the goal. So I will consider this documentary, or this video, a ceremony of that, right? So we did some workout today, focusing on back workout. Those were some movements that I also did a lot when I was recovering. A lot of deadlifts, because I wanted to stabilize my foot position. I want to put some pressure on that. So I did a lot of deadlifts to just create this core foundation when I was exercising. There's some pulls, and I did some boxing activity, because as a matter of fact, boxing was something that helped me in the beginning of the physical therapy. I worked with Coach Malachi at Keller Boxing Club, just on foot position and just on movement. So today we replicated some of this work with Coach Tony Mack. Tony is a great friend, has a gym established here at Hidden, and we did some really good men's work, body shots, but always moving, because the foot movement is very important for me when I'm going to transition back to judo. I need to feel comfortable making those switches on my feet and stabilize my posture. So that's very important. So now I'm way more aware about that, which I think is good too. Being aware of what you are actually doing it with your feet. So I feel that I'm building this whole thing to 2022. I think that will be a great year, and I'm really looking forward to move on that. So to wrap up, I just want to thanks everyone that always supported. I received a lot of message and a lot of support during the time of difficulties and the injury and everything. My wife, of course, she is everything. She has done amazing job taking care of me for the past 22 years. Actually, our anniversary is next week, will be 23 years together, and it's quite an amazing journey. Coming from Brazil and moving to US and everything, it's awesome. Shout out also to my people that are always close to me. Greg McCoy, my great friend and coach, Professor Leonardo, which is my BJJ professor, a great friend of mine, Nick DePopo, always helped me out. Everyone from Eastside Dojo that helped me also with this transition back to judo, and everyone else that it has been involved, and also of course Austin for making this possible, coming to Texas to record this and make it possible. Appreciate it.